questions that you guys have afterwards, so just hold your questions off until the end. I'm just kind of go through a little bit of an overview of what it is that I do and what the elements that I work with and how it can be beneficial to you in your life. And we have a bunch of people here that have had that experience with me about 2 weeks ago, and we're going to open up the floor for them to kind of share as well at the end, if anybody feels comfortable about what they experienced with me 2 weeks ago in our magical weekend. So Carlo being one of them as well. So yeah, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, no, I just want to say, who doesn't know Diana here?
Well, who's
just being here for the first time? Okay, cool guys. So yeah, so I met Diana back in September. You know, this is a field I've always been interested in, and she's kind of really become a mentor for me in a lot of ways with this stuff. You know, because this is so, you know, I had so many questions, and if you're like me, you just go to YouTube videos, right? And you see all kinds of shit on there. You see good stuff, you know, and you see this like, but I felt there needed to be something locally. So when I met her and I started learning, I was like, how do we take this to the next level, right? And so this is kind of the birth of that, but I think I really want to, you know, say that thank you, right? I think you're representing this, it is a sacred medicine, and what I've come to learn that this is ancient technology. You know, this has been around for a long time, and it's been, it's a medicine as time has come to really move into this space here, and so I'm really grateful for this. And I think you guys will get a lot. If you're very curious about this like I was, you know, I think you're in really good hands. You know, someone who really knows how to navigate this space. You know, so take notes, ask questions, and you know, we're really excited and grateful that you guys are here. All right, so let's get going.
Yes, yes. Awesome. So, sacred plant medicine, obviously we're here to, there's so many different types of plant medicine. The one that we're going to talk about today in particular is ayahuasca. The one that's been most impactful for me in my life. And so we refer to her as abuelita, which means, you know, grandmother, which she is the great-grandmother spirit of the earth. And so just breaking down the components of the plant. So this is its name, which I'm not even going to attempt, but so basically it's pictured here. It's the woody vine. It's also referred to cape, yahe, ayahuasca. This is the main ingredient in the brew that you drink when you come to a particular ceremony. So on its own, it doesn't produce a non-ordinary state of consciousness. Instead, it contains elements that allow other plants with hallucinogenic properties to become orally active. And so this is another picture of the vine here. And so it contains harmala alkaloids, which acts as monoamine oxidase inhibitors, MAOIs, have a variety of medicinal uses and effects. Mostly as an antidepressant medication, they neutralize the monoamine oxidase in your stomach, which allows DMT, which is the main psychoactive ingredient in ayahuasca, to pass through your stomach into your bloodstream and ultimately to your brain. So MAOIs also allow the neurotransmitters, norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine to stay in the brain for longer periods of time, causing a sensation of peace, acceptance, and euphoria. So this is what's chemically happening in your body when you are partaking in an ayahuasca ceremony. So the second plant that is included in the brew, so that's the leaf, so that's the vine. This is chacruna, and so chacruna can be different plants depending on what kind of tribe you're sitting with and what kind of brew that they're making. And so it contains a high amount of DMT. It's found in most plants and mammals, but the presence of MAO in humans prevents DMT from having a psychological effect on us normally. But when mixed with the ayahuasca vine, it crosses into the brain, bonds with serotonin receptors in the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. So this causes basically a heightened state of consciousness with reduced fear and shame response and increased empathy and interconnectivity. So unlike other classic psychedelics, DMT also binds with sigma-1 receptors, which is currently being researched due to the sigma-1's relation to schizophrenia, depression, addiction, and cancer. So that's just a little bit of a background on it. So it has been used over 6,000 years in most ancient tribes, the Incans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and even back, dating back to the Egyptians, that they had their own form of ayahuasca, which they called the tree of life here. And so today you can see the plant being referenced in popular movies such as Avatar and Black Panther. Here is the tree of spirits, and then here is the plant in which he ingests to go into the spirit realm, where the Black Panther talks to his ancestors and things like that. So it's always been weaved into our culture without us knowing for real what it is. So this is an example of how it's still being used today as a form of medicine that cures chronic illnesses. And so Don Agustin Rivas Vasquez is internationally known as one of the highest respected, renowned shaman and curanderos in the world. He actually used to be Sting's shaman and has rumored to be Michael Jackson's shaman. So he lives in a little treehouse in the jungle. I actually spent a week with him, studying with him, doing medicine with him, and people have gone to him with incurable diseases, cancers, and he uses not just ayahuasca, but many plants from the jungle. So whatever it is, disease that you have, he'll do an assessment on you, and within 11 to 14 days, he actually goes into the jungle, finds different plants, makes a brew that's specific to you, and then in an ayahuasca ceremony does like energetic surgery, goes into your energetic body to remove these essentially harmful energies that are causing this disease in your body. So he's cured cancer, many different types of cancer, and so people that are just being told that they have zero time to live, like they go to him as their last resort, and he's able to save lives. And so it's really amazing work. This is a true wizard, really. And so let's get into the science of like, what does that mean for you, right? You're like, what does this mean? What does it do for me? So to answer that question, you really have to understand like who you are. So I am obsessed with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, and if any of you guys know who he is, yeah, he is for me the bridge between science and spirituality. And because he is a doctor, he is just so amazing at explaining this in a way that really shows you that we are vibrational beings. So we are vibrating so fast that we appear to be solid. And so these are the actual frequencies of our emotions and the frequency in which we operate at. So these are what it looks like on a brain scanner: bliss all the way down to survival emotions here, suffering and things like that.
You got that? You got that from Becoming Supernatural?
Yes.
Great book, by the way, guys.
Amazing book, Becoming Supernatural. Yes. Hey.
Hi.
Hey. Awesome. Okay. So when we are being created in the womb, when we are just atoms, when our parents are, creating us, we receive their energy in this way that atoms share energy, molecules, and we become, so I love this part where it says, there's an invisible field of light surrounding it that is the energy and information giving it the physical properties to hold it together. So essentially everything that we are is energy, and it starts from the smallest part of us, which are atoms, our molecules, our cells, our tissue, our hearts, and then our being. We are vibrational beings at our core, and we are all made up of energy. So we, as humans, as we walk through life, we connect with people, we have interactions, we go through experiences, we have trauma, we have suffering, we have so many things that happen to us in our lives that become the makeup of our energetic being, our aura, our field. And so just because we can't see our field doesn't mean that it's there. It is always present. And so if you think about, as you're going through your life, how many decades that you've compounded your experiences, years after years after years. And so what we essentially are, we're carrying all of our life experiences energetically with us into our new lives experience. And we're recycling all of these old programs, these old experiences, and this old energy into our everyday lives. So if we're not aware of this, we can find ourselves continuing to repeat the same cycles over and over again. And we're repeating things with attracting similar partners, attracting similar life situations, attracting similar trauma into our lives, is because we are actually operating from the same core energy that we are carrying with us. So this is the difference between coherent and incoherent brainwaves. So this is important to understand because is ayahuasca the only way to heal yourself? Absolutely not.
No.
There are so many ways, meditation, yoga, whatever healing modalities are out, there's so many to explore, right? So is ayahuasca for everybody? No. However, this is essentially at the core what is happening here. So here Dr. Joe Dispenza's talk about meditation and transcendence meditation, and what happens is you have coherent brainwaves here and incoherent brainwaves here. And so it says when we take our attention off the material world and begin to open our focus to the realm of the unknown and stay in the present moment, the brain works in a coherent manner. When your brain is coherent, it is working in a more holistic state and you will feel more whole. When the brain is aroused due to the hormones of stress and we're narrowing our focus and shifting attention from people, objects, and things, places in our known outer world, the brain fires incoherently. When your brain is out of balance in this way, you will be more fragmented, unfocused, and living in more duality and separation. And so this essentially is what happens when you go into an ayahuasca experience, is that it kind of gets you into alignment to be in a more coherent brainwave state instead of your incoherence that you operate in your waking life. And so the flow of consciousness as brain waves change, so how this actually affects the brain. So I like to really say that we're going in and reprogramming our subconscious mind, but for those of you that really need to understand what is actually happening, so you slow your brain waves down, become less aware of your body and environment and time. Consciousness flows out of the neocortex and towards the limbic brain, the seat of your autonomic nervous system, represented by the dark arrows moving toward the middle of the brain. At the same time as these two systems intersect, the automatic nervous system, whose job is to create balance, steps in and creates a coherence in the neocortex, the seat of your thinking mind, represented by the lighter green arrows, which just doesn't have colors, but you can understand it here. So we're literally going into your subconscious and reprogramming how you perceive things that have maybe happened to you, traumas that have occurred in your childhood, or just situations that happen in your everyday life that we don't even realize that we hold that energetic, and we can call it trauma, but it could just be normal events. It could be just simply a coworker that dismissed you, or it could be something so little, but on an energetic level, we received it and we hold it. And so this is just more about getting beyond the analytical mind. So our conscious mind here, the analytical mind here, the subconscious mind. And so this is for meditation, but one of the main purposes of meditation is to move beyond the analytical mind. What separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. As you slow your brain waves down, you move out of your conscious mind, thinking brain, past the analytical mind, into the operating system, into the subconscious mind, where all those automatic programs and unconscious habits exist. And so, a lot of people say, like if you smoke cigarettes, right? Why can't you make a conscious decision to stop smoking cigarettes? Well, because smoking cigarettes is a subconscious habit. And so a lot of people will go into hypnosis and things like that to try to get into the subconscious mind to reprogram from that place. And so when we're going into an ayahuasca experience or any type of sacred plant medicine experience, that is exactly where we're going. You're going straight into your subconscious mind. You're sifting through the different experiences that you've had in your life that have affected you and your core operating system and where you're acting from, and literally reprogramming your brain, your mind, your energy, your heart, your spirit. And so these represents the energy centers in our body. This is how energy gets stuck, mostly in the lower three chakras here. And so we say that we hold a lot of trauma in our lower chakras here. And so a lot of people that have lower back pain, that suffer from a lot of just ailments in this region of their body, will be suffering from a lot of pain, victimization, guilt, or just trauma from their past that they continue to carry on with them. And so this is just a kind of demonstration of where your energetic body is, right? So it's basically right over your body, but it's kind of in this space where this is where you're in your normal light field, but when you're in survival and you're feeling contracted, and everybody knows what that feeling is like, when you're feeling scared, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling like you don't know what to do, and you feel contracted in your body. And then this feeling is more of like when you're feeling joy, and when you're laughing, and when you're in love, and when you are feeling Hopeful, yeah. This is, so you can feel the energetic of the expansion and the contraction here. And so this is just kind of how you get into this thinking and feeling loop of anger, right? So it's like, I am angry, I'm underpaid, my boss is unfair. So your neurotransmitters, anger, neuropeptides, molecules of emotion, and then it goes into the energetic third center activated, releasing angry hormones. And so all our emotions are frequencies. Again, all of our emotions are energy. And so this is just another example of guilt. So you guys kind of get the point here. So I say all that to say this, that what we're doing here is working through years, decades, however long, of compounded energy that we've kept and are holding and are carrying into our lives every day, into the situations, into interactions, into our perception. Because if you think about it, it's like going your whole life and never taking a shower. Like, how dirty would you be? And and then trying to operate from that place when you have all this emotional gunk and all of this trauma that needs to be cleared out before you can start feeling whole, and clearing out the energetic channels here so that light can flow through you and you can feel more connected and you can feel more whole and you can feel more in alignment, and things can start to really start working for you and flowing for you in your life with more ease and less struggle. And that really is the point of all this, to really help people heal and to get them out of that struggle mindset, that struggle energy, and to really get them into alignment with who you're supposed to be in this life, what are you meant to do, what are your gifts, and really shining that light forward. And so for me, this work is deeply personal to me, and if you guys don't know me, I can share a little bit about my story. I was a victim of intense child abuse from a very young age. And so this, if you think about the energetics of that, right? So the energy of my mother being abused and her mother being abused, and that being passed on into the abuse of me and my sibling. And so from that place, now I'm operating out of fear, survival, anger, resentment. And so as I continue to move through my life, those are the experiences that I pull into my journey, right, as I'm experiencing all of this trauma and all the things that confirm that reality to me. And so, you know, from that place of pain and struggle and deep unworthiness, you begin to do things that you want to cope. So you start looking for other substances, maybe alcohol, maybe drugs, maybe going out, distracting yourself, maybe buying things, going on vacation, whatever it is, maybe partners, whatever it is that you do to cope against the pain that you feel that you can't deal with, they become our crutches. And so over time, over years, they become addictions, they become things that really cause harm to our well-being or what's stopping us from moving forward. And I try to think about it like, if you get a wound, right? So let's say you get a thorn stuck in your side, instead of taking out the thorn and letting the body heal itself, what we do is we're like, okay, we have a thorn in our side, so now I have to buy shirts with holes in them, and I have to, you know, protect the thorn. And when anybody tries to get close to you, you're like, don't hug me on this side. I have a thorn on this side. Come on this side, because don't touch the thorn. You protect the thorn. You carry these thorns with you into your everyday experiences instead of just going through the quick pain of pulling it out and allowing yourself to heal. So essentially, that's the way that I like to look at it. It's like, why carry these thorns around with you? So as I'm going through my life as, you know, a victim and as a person that's suffering from alcoholism and addiction, I had PTSD, I had borderline personality disorder, and basically I had all of these energetic thorns in my being to a point where I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, I cannot take the pain of this existence anymore, and I needed a way out. And many times I thought about taking my own life. Many times I thought, I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And, you know, the way that the universe works is so amazing, the way that she comes in and saves you and tells you, you know what, come, I got you. And so through just a weird way a weird like divine alignment, I found the medicine. I worked really, really hard for 6 months with a shamanic healer to really open up the energetic field to receive this type of healing. And so I want to talk a little bit about this. I know it seems very big, so I'm trying to ground my language a little bit for you guys. So if we think about these many decades of compounded energy, right, that we're holding. So it can be a wall that's like 10 feet of concrete that you're holding. I'm a Reiki practitioner, so I dive into people's energetic fields a lot. And sometimes when I get into somebody's field, I'm like, it's literally so rock solid that I'm like, I can't get through. And so that's essentially what the medicine is trying to do, is she's trying to shed you of these layers of this armor that we carry to protect ourselves, to cope, to deal, to get by, right? She's trying to shed you these layers. And if you go into an ayahuasca ceremony and you don't prep yourself and you don't do some energetic work to really put yourself in a receptive mode to this medicine, it can be quite painful and it could be really uncomfortable, because essentially she's a drill that's trying to get through this concrete that you've built up for your entire life of not showering. So, so I think the preparatory work, the energetic work before coming into this experience is extremely important, and that's something that I truly believe in, and that's something of the work that I try to support all of you in that decide to come into this type of experience. And so in my first experience, I really understood that my journey was not happening to me, but happening for me, and that every single thing, whether it be extremely traumatic, painful, and scarring, was a step on the journey for me to be here now, to be sharing this sacred medicine with other people that are looking for the answer in their life of how can they be happy, how can they allow themselves to let go of the past, how can they work through these limiting beliefs and these fears and these traumas that have happened to them, and really come to a deeper connection with, you know, and you can call it whatever it is. You can call it God, you can call it spirit, you can call it source, this higher power, Mother Ayahuasca, whatever it is, you can, but it is this eternal life force that flows through us constantly. Each breath that we take is part of that connection with this source. How plants grow, how birds fly, all of that is all connected. And when you come into this deeper connection, you really understand that your life is a gift, and all of your experiences are here to teach you lessons and to give you deeper insight into what your journey is here for, you know. And so for me, as I've healed myself, and so I've healed my partner at the time when we was coming into awareness of my ailments, my diseases, my borderline, my PTSD, all that stuff, was like, okay, we need to get you on pills and we need you to go committed to a hospital. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm moving to San Diego and I'm going to heal myself holistically by myself. And I did that. I healed myself in less than 2 years of everything. I actually went to a psychiatrist, therapist, like many doctors, to test myself to make sure that I was really good. And yeah, I've cured myself. No pills, no AA, no rehab, nothing. And I was addicted to alcohol and drugs for basically the majority of my life. And so for me, after my healing journey was complete, I really understood the message that this was the training that I received in order to now spread this healing and share this healing with others. And so that's kind of been my life journey and my life work for over the past 4 years, and I've seen so many people's lives transform and change and really find their purpose and achieve so much, and it brings me the greatest joy to be able to do that for you guys. So for everyone, for humanity, the earth, the world, and yeah, that's kind of my story in a nutshell and kind of the medicine in a nutshell. I'm going to also add that integration is a huge part of the work, and so we step into this massive, intense limitless energetic world that we understand to be our reality, and then sometimes when we come back into our 3D reality, which is our everyday lives, you know, going to work and dealing with our family and our bills and things like that, a lot of times we can forget the insights and the downloads and the upgrades and the deeper knowledge and this infinite intelligence that we've communicated with and what we were taught. And so I feel the most impactful the medicine has had on me is when I had a coach and when I've had people to really guide me into implementing all of the things that we receive into our daily lives. Because essentially it's like you took your car to the mechanic and he told you, okay, you gotta fix A, B, C, and D, and you're like, okay, cool, and then you just continue to drive your car and you don't fix any of those things and it continues to break down on you and it continues to give you problems. So, and then you're like, you gotta go back to the mechanic again, and you're like, well, it's not working still, it's not getting me to point A to point B, I'm not getting to my destination. Like, well, did you fix any of those things? And we're like, well, no, I didn't. Well, then you're still where you are. And so the medicine is not an end-all, be-all like solution to everything. However, it is a tool that can be used to help you on your journey of self-realization, of ascension, expansion, and whatever else it is that you're trying to achieve or create in this world. It's a beautiful, beautiful gift. So, yeah. Do you guys have any questions? I am open to answering anything and everything. No, you leave it on. Yeah. Tomorrow.
So for me, I heard two voices in my first night.
Okay, so Tamara had an experience with us 2 weeks ago for her first time, and so she's been integrating, and I'm so excited to hear this because I've been waiting to talk to you.
So there was like that, my voice, you know, that critical and judgmental voice, and then I heard in the other dimension, I heard that higher voice. And it felt like, I don't know, the creator or the universe was talking to me. So I'm like, when I explain that to others, how do I explain that? Is it, what was talking to me? Is it the plant? Is it the universe? Is it the creator in the plant? Or how do I explain that?
So who it is it's your higher self. It's your higher self that is in connection with the source of all life, which essentially there is no separation. It is all of those things. Mm-hmm. It is Mother Ayahuasca, it is God, it is the universe, and it is you. Because essentially you are God, force, energy in a physical body. Mm-hmm. Like your spirit is inhabiting this vehicle in this 3D dimension of reality, but where you were in that space communicating was with your higher self that knows and sees all things and is completely whole and unconditional, limitless. So it's you. You as God.
Okay, so it's all together.
It's all together. Yeah, there's no separation.
Yeah, there's no separation.
Yeah, this is the illusion of separation that keeps us from staying connected to what it is we already know to be true. But and I try to explain this process as it's an unlearning and a remembering. So as we're unlearning the conditions of what society has taught us, what our parents with limited beliefs had taught us, or our friends, or whatever it is, we're unlearning all of that. We're remembering who it is that we are, which is limitless creators, infinite beings that are having a temporary human experience. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any questions, Eric?
When you have a ayahuasca experience,
yes,
and you are going to take the thorn out,
yeah,
how does that actually happen? I don't know, like when you're having the experience,
yeah.
how are you actually like healing yourself?
Okay, so basically the thorn, right, the energetic thorn that is your pain, your trauma, struggle, whatever has happened to you, can be released in many different ways. It can be in just like a vision, right? So you can just like go to like a place for me, like going to a childhood memory of me being abused and just reliving that, right? Like, and this is why a lot of people don't want to do that because they're like, I don't want to look underneath that. But it's important because maybe at the time as a child, you didn't have the ability to really process that emotion or really to hold that space for yourself, or really, and maybe you suppressed it, and in that suppression you held it like here, or you held it here, anywhere in your energetic body, right? And so when you're reliving it and you can see it from this higher perspective, right, like this bird's eye view, when you see it and you're like, oh my God, that was terrible, how, you know, sorry you feel for your little you, and then you're absorbing that pain, and then it can be released in crying. It could release in like shaking. Sometimes you get really cold and you're just shaking, so you're releasing energy. It can be released in just feeling that pain. Because when you're feeling it, then it's like you can release it. And there are other ways that are more, you know, you can just go to the bathroom, like take a number 2, which is, you know, easy. And sometimes you are purging, so you're actually vomiting up the energy that is stuck within. And so, but there's times where there's not anything like there's no physical matter that's being purged. Sometimes you're just like kind of gagging, and you can feel the energy actually being released from your body. So yeah, there's many different ways.
Yeah, reliving the emotions, that definitely I could see that healing.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you can see it from a perspective of like, wow, like, look at what I've been able to learn from this. The wisdom that we get from our painful experience is priceless.
Can you talk a little bit about one of the big concerns that I get from a lot of people is being in a group and being that vulnerable in front of a group. I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I know a lot of people say this, like, I just want to do a one-on-one experience. I'm like, but then you're missing out on the collective energy, you know? And so for the same reason that when you meditate in a group, it's so much more powerful than when you meditate by yourself. Like, if you guys have ever gone to a group meditation and you can just feel yourself like click in right away, and all of a sudden like the energy levels is like so heightened with the group holding that collective space. And so I feel that in a group setting, especially working with the sacred medicine, it becomes more powerful. Everybody's power, right? Like, everybody's in this room. Like, you guys are so powerful. All of that collective energy, like, being joined together creates such a much more powerful and impactful experience. However, some people are still kind of like, well, if I'm going to cry, I'm going to, you know, throw a wild, like, I don't want people to see me. It's such a solo internal journey that for most people, you don't even realize other people are there. Like, you don't, like, and it doesn't that you don't see them, but it's like you can feel how much they all love you and that they're supporting you in whatever it is you're going through. And it's you know, times where I've like had like much louder cries than I wanted to have, or things like that, and just like I can feel everybody's energy just literally come and surround me, like the love of everybody's compassion and heart that really shares in that pain with me. And it's support, you know, it's support, it's what we need. And what I've learned through doing this work is that our human connection to each other is actually the most important thing, like, in this world. That is actually the reason that we are here, is to be in connection with each other. Because if we think about like where our souls are, our higher selves, our source, well, there is no separation between all of us. And only in this realm do we get to have this, you know, physical quality of like, oh, I can look at you, and you can look at me, and we look different and take these different forms. But in reality, like, we're all just reflections of each other. And so when you get into that space and you understand that, it's just kind of looking, it's like you are alone, because you're just looking in a mirror of your soul in another physical being. Yeah. You have any other questions? Yes.
How long you say you've been doing this for now? These ceremonies?
Yeah, so I've been sitting with the medicine for it's going to be like 4.5 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you had any issues, like, say, with anybody with the medicine, they just kind of like freak out or get sick or anything like that?
I have never had any negative experiences myself. I have seen people have very intense experiences, and I wouldn't say that they're negative, because it was
what they needed to go through at the present time.
Right. And especially, I think I've sat in situations where people didn't do the preparatory work.
Right. That's important.
Yeah. So when you don't do the preparatory work and you just dive into this, it's like,
Right.
it's jumping into a cold pool, right? So it's like, it's gonna be really intense. And
Yes.
so my shamanic healer that I worked with before I went into my first experience, she told me if I had went in right away, I could have had a seizure.
Wow.
Because so much would have tried to come
Right.
out, all of
Right.
that trauma would have tried to come out all at once, that it could have been an
Right.
overload on my body. And so that preparatory work is really important. So sometimes people do freak out because it's like the first time that they're like feeling free, or the first time they're like got in touch with them, the core of who they are, realizing that they're they could be in their, like I've sat with much older participants that are like in their 50s and they realize that their entire life was an illusion. And so like that can cause like a mental breakdown. You're like, oh my God, I've been living a lie, my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's important to have support.
Yeah, and the drink itself, it's a brew, right?
Yes.
And how is it made? I mean, it's derived by a couple plants. You guys
Yeah.
mix it together. I mean,
So I don't mix it. It's made in a ceremonial way in the jungle by the tribes that have made it the same way for a century. There's a very ceremonial thing that goes into it.
and you know this for a fact. It's coming straight from the tribe.
Oh
the
yeah,
jungle.
yeah. We
Okay.
send money back to the tribe because our shamans study there, continue to
Okay.
go back and study there and give back to the community, build a community.
That's awesome.
I think it's coming from a guy named Edwin.
Okay, we don't need to say names out here.
No name dropping.
I didn't hear nothing. I didn't see nothing. I wasn't even here. I'll be honest with you guys.
Yeah. We want to try and protect people's identities. As of right now, this is actually something I wanted to mention because as of right now, yes, is it technically legal? No, it's on the level of mushrooms as far as legality, right? However, I have a friend that I was actually on the phone with yesterday who is getting his master's in shamanism at Berkeley, where they've legalized it, and him and a bunch of professors, they're compiling all these studies about ayahuasca curing all of these, PTSD, borderline personality, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, cancer, like all of these diseases, and they're compiling these studies and they're making the cases to make it legal. And so I was on the phone with him yesterday, and he's like really, up there with the people that are making waves in this field, and he's like I'm not gonna be surprised when it's legal within like 2 to 3 years. And so he's like gave me the encouragement to continue to stay on this path.
That's awesome because Oakland and San Francisco just decriminalized
Yeah.
ayahuasca. So now I have another question for you, and I'll be done.
I'm open to the questions.
And you seem like a very informed woman.
Thank you.
In your personal experience, what would you say the difference is between, if you have experienced psilocybin mushrooms on a 5 gram and above dose, on an empty stomach, obviously, compared to the drink, the juice, the ayahuasca?
So the way that we like to see it is ayahuasca is the grandmother.
Your personal opinion, right?
Yeah. I see it this way as well because of my experience with it.
Okay, you've experienced mushroom? You experienced
Yes.
psilocybin?
Yeah, that was my first awakening actually back in New York back in the day. So mushrooms is the little cousin and ayahuasca is the grandmother.
Really?
Yes. So it's like, mushrooms is like, it can be used in a ceremonial setting, and I have used it in a ceremonial setting for myself. But it is more of, so when I've gone into shrooms or acid, it's like we're here and we're here. So we're operating in this realm here. And I get to a point in the ceiling where I'm like, I know I can go higher than this, but it won't let me. And I get to the point in the floor, and I'm like, I know I can go deeper than this, but it won't let me. Whereas, like, when I get into an ayahuasca, it's like all of it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It does. I've had personal experiences myself personally with psilocybin on a different level, increased dosage.
Yeah.
12 grams,
Yeah.
15 grams. So it is a much different experience
Yeah.
than just taking 5 grams or just even taking a couple grams just for recreational purposes.
Just to feel connected.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm an advocate. I microdose every day.
Okay.
And it's really, the only thing, me personally, I don't really, the thing I don't really kind of understand about ayahuasca, see, I'm an advocate of the mushroom because all you gotta do is dry it.
Right.
And consume it. Ayahuasca, you gotta get it from the jungle, you don't know where it's coming. I mean, just personally, I'm just speaking as personally. I know you have the source.
Yeah.
I don't know where it comes from. I don't, and I gotta mix it.
You don't have to mix
Well,
anything.
I mean, you don't have to mix it. It's a drink, right? You have to
You don't have to
consume
do anything because you cannot drink it by yourself. Unfortunately, you have to be in a ceremonial setting because when you're opening up your energetic field in this way, you're opening up your Shishuna, which is your channel of light within your body, right? If you're not with a person that's trained to hold that space and protect that area, your ground, your area where you're doing this work, there is a risk of other energies coming in.
I
Like
understand.
it's not safe.
Right.
Yeah,
Of
to
course.
do it by yourself
Yeah, of
without
course.
somebody who's trained in this. For me, that's my personal opinion. You know, that's just I would recommend it.
I see.
Yeah, because you're dealing with a much more powerful energy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And so you want to make sure that you are going to be safe, you know, and with someone that's going to, because you never know, there's some things that happen and like, you know, I think my shaman was there because he is a wizard and like in the tribe he would be considered a medicine man, a doctor, you know, and, you know, sometimes there's things going on even where I'm just like, I just need your help, like, I don't know, I feel pain here, this, that, there's something stuck, and he'll just come in, do his thing, and you're going to be grateful that he was there for you, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, yes.
During a ceremony, are you also doing it, or are you
Yes.
supervising?
No, I'm also doing it. So you can't really sit in a ceremony without taking the medicine because it disrupts the energetic field.
Is it also, did it get legal in Oakland?
Yes, it's
Okay.
decriminalized, yes.
I know psilocybin was, I didn't know.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
too.
I
That's
like
cool.
it too. Yeah.
Can you talk about the role of, and you know, obviously here Chris, and I understand the contrast of going alone work with psilocybin, but to me, I think the greatest gift of this experience with ayahuasca was the guide from a shaman. You know, maybe we could talk more about the role of a shaman in this process and how beneficial it is to the ceremony itself.
So the shaman is essentially a physical extension of the medicine because as he is calling in, you know, ayahuasca is a spirit, it's a grandmother spirit of the earth, and as he's calling in the spirit to come in and work with us, to heal us, and to teach us, you know, as he is playing his instruments and playing music and singing and chanting and the different ikaros, which is songs from the jungle that interact with the medicine, it's actually helping guide the medicine through the healing journey, through your spirit, your body, your mind, and helping you process a lot of things and raising the potency of the medicine through his presence and through his direction. So essentially be like an orchestrator of the work that you're doing in this setting. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And they're on it too?
Yeah.
Oh,
So they
wow.
drink it as well, but
And they can do that?
so the thing with them is that they're not. It doesn't alter them in the way that it would alter you. You know, because
They've been around.
yeah, and also because they're trained in their body and in their spirit, like you have to go to the jungle and get trained with an elder for many years and do a specific regimen of work to be able to put yourself in a place to serve medicine, and so it's going to be way different. Their experience is way different holding the space and you coming in first time having that experience. Yeah.
It's I would say, I mean, I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but I equate it to, it's like a DJ who controls the energy of the room, who just plays the right song at the right time.
Yeah.
You just hit it, and then when you get it, you're like, man, that's my jam. But
I felt that.
it plays out.
Everything
all
synced
felt
up.
it.
Yeah, everything syncs up, and you're like, right? When it's an energy for sure, and when the energy is high and it's intense, the shaman through their music cuts right through it, and it's kind of like a way low, you know. And when it's low, they go high. It's very interesting, you know. There is definitely a a cadence there that they're very much in tune with, and you feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They carry
It's a
a
beautiful
power
way to
too.
put it.
Yeah.
Like, when they come and do the water thing with the, you know, water prayer, like, wow. Like, it's
You feel like
you
it
feel
washes-
that shit with the holy water, man?
It
Is
feels
that
like it
what-
washes your soul.
yeah.
No, I was joking, man. I was joking.
I'm gonna open up the floor for anybody. So we have like half of the people that are here just like learning about this for the first time, and half of them that have been through this journey with us together 2 weeks ago. And it's so great to see you guys. Yeah, if anybody would like to take the floor and kind of share their experiences, or just to share any insights, I'm gonna open that up now. If you feel comfortable, if not, totally okay. If anybody wants to.
I won't stop talking.
Okay.
I've been blowing up his phone every day
Yeah.
because of everything that's been going on with me.
Yeah.
Like insane, like mind-blowing thing after another after another. I was gonna ask you, so how long does the medicine last? Because I was still going through something like the next day.
Yeah.
Like this one decided to post a picture of something he found. I'm not gonna say what. And I had an immediate reaction to it, and I started crying, and I went through that same shaking and that same thing I went through the night before, and I couldn't, like, he had to walk me through it because I was still like, I'm like, is she still in me?
Yeah.
'Cause it was like not even 24 hours since then. And so anyway, I was able to concentrate on it, and I focused on it, and I delivered. By the way, I'm a psychic, so I was able to deliver the message to that one because it had to do with him, and then I calmed the fuck down completely. And so that was really interesting. How like I was wondering how long can the medicine take in your body?
Yeah. So the way that I see it is that the medicine is always with you, like now moving forward, and like the way that it's going to blossom into your life is in like beautiful alignments or synchronicities or opportunities coming in, breakthroughs, like just your greater ability to manifest, your greater ability to move through stagnant energy, your greater ability to evolve at like a exponential rate. So because you were being supported by, you just got into alignment, right? So when we went back to the chart, so it's like you're now in a coherent brainwave state. All of your energy centers are in alignment. Your energy field is expanded, so you're in a more connective state. And so that state tends to last for several days afterwards, but I guess your job is to then try to maintain it through your own work. So again, not using ayahuasca as a crutch, not using it but using it as a tool to help, you get there, where it's like the way I try to say it's like 20 years of psychotherapy. And yeah, you can reach that state through meditation as well, but you can, again, how long is that going to take you, right? So for me, it's like I need progress quickly, so I want to get there quickly. And so when you get there, it's what we say is like the ceremony ends, but then the ceremony of your life starts, right? So as you're moving through your physical life back into your day-to-day, taking that work, everything that you got, and being like, okay, this is the state that I should be operating from all the time. Let's try to maintain it. How can I work to sustain this level of connectivity in my everyday life as I'm dealing with traffic, as I'm dealing with work, as I'm dealing with my children, or whatever it is. And then it's, again, implementing those practices to keep you in that elevated, interconnected state so that you are able to operate at an optimum level in your being. So for me, I was still on the medicine till Wednesday. Like we left Sunday and I was still on it till Wednesday.
Oh, I'm still feeling it.
Yeah.
I still hear the chanting. Like I'm still hearing the chanting.
I've been in the music
Nice.
too. The music has been.
That's what I was asking.
Haunting
Like,
all of my dreams.
I'm like, no, I like whenever I'm freaking out, I hear the chanting, I calm down again. It's pretty
Good.
cool. But the biggest thing for me, and for those who were there with me, my whole experience was completely focused on my daughter. And I spent so much of those days after like, why? And then Thursday, it was like this huge, she did something she's never done before. She's 3. She wanted to hold my hand. And I was like, okay. Held her hand, and it was like her hand holding mine. Like I felt like this zap, and this thing it just blew up. I understood why the medicine was so focused on her, because I was ending a cycle.
Oh, wow.
When you were talking about earlier about the cycles, I knew exactly what that meant. I ended the cycle because I had released the resentment I had about her birth story. So,
Oh wow.
and it was just so overwhelming because I was just like, oh my God, I finally ended. And they showed me like, had you not ended this cycle, you were gonna put her on the same cycle, and she was gonna go through the same shit as you as an adult. And it was like,
oh
like
my God.
insane. Like I was blowing up his fun again. And right after that, I took a selfie like later in the day because I was at my kid's party, and people were like, "You're glowing. What's going on? You're pregnant?" And I'm like, "No, no." So apparently, this is a thing. There's a glow. Did you know? I didn't know there's a glow. So this is a thing. You can glow.
Because you're vibrating so high.
Yeah, but no one had noticed the glow until Thursday when I had that insane, like, mind-blowing thing about my daughter. Like, I finally understood why they focused on her.
Yeah.
Because I had to end that cycle. Because she's a Scorpio. And they're intense creatures. And she needs me to guide her in the right direction so she doesn't spiral out of control. So a lot has happened, but that was, like, the really huge one. And after that, I had a lot of, my psychic ability, like, really amplified. And I was able to severely help my family with something that happened later that night. It was insane. Like, I can go on and on and on. It's like insane. Like, my accuracy has just up-leveled.
Yeah.
I was good before, but, like, it's just,
Yeah.
like, it went,
Intensified.
like, intensified.
Yeah.
And it was huge because I thought I could never read my family. But when this incident happened later that night, my mom was like, you need to read. And I'm just like, you are projecting on me. I cannot. But I the next day I calmed down and I was able to get the information that was needed, gave it to her. 6 hours later, she called me saying I was absolutely right. And they had the information to work with to get my brother, because he was being falsely accused of something. So, and it was really intense. And now he has the information. Once I gave him the ping of where to look, it just blew up, and my mom's like, yep, you were right about everything. So my brother is able to get sight word now.
Oh, okay.
And so now we're going to go forward with, suing somebody because of falsifications, defamation of character. But
Wow.
it's insane. Like, I can go on and on. It's like, that's just the nutshell.
Yeah.
That's the Cliff Notes.
Because you're in alignment right
Yeah.
now. You're in
Yeah.
alignment. You're a clear channel, and you're feeling yourself as the pure vessel that you are, and really receiving all of that guidance. And so I just want to touch on what you said about your daughter, right? And so that is actually the reason I stepped on this journey of healing, because what you really understand is that we are products of our parents, right? And so the energy of our father, the energy of our mother, the energy of our ancestors, and the generations behind us, we carry within our DNA. And so if you notice, like, okay, wow, I'm so much like my mom, I'm so much like my dad, I'm so much like my grandparents, whatever it is, we've inherited their fears, traumas, beliefs, energy. And so my energy of being an abused child, I understood that when I wasn't healing it, I tended to be very abusive. And my whole thing was like, I never want to put another child through the things that I went through. And my whole healing journey has been dedicated to my future unborn children, because I know that I never want to do that. And so what you're doing is, when you're getting into this multidimensional field and you're healing yourself, you're healing your body, you're healing your energy, you're healing your trauma, you are sending a ripple effect out into the field of healing your ancestors behind you and healing the future generations in front of you. And so this work is so much deeper than just you, but I mean, it starts because you love yourself, right? And you want to give love to yourself, and then through giving love to yourself and really becoming whole in yourself, you're able to create such more impact and radiate that high level of love and unconditional beingness out into everyone around you. And so you become a light, you become a beacon, which is what you've become for your family, to help them. And so that's so beautiful. I'm really happy about that.
And I do want to add on that, I agree with you about the whole, you should definitely be preparing prior to the ceremony, because I wanted to do it last year, and it was like, I was like, nope. I spent about a year and a half working on one specific child trauma. And when I got the medicine kicked in, that was the first thing they went straight to that, and they were like, we're gonna purge that out. It was like literally the last of it, and I saw like a drain stopper literally being pulled out of me, and they were like, and now we can do the work.
Yeah.
Because there was no cement, like you said, because I had already been working on that. So I agree with you, like doing a lot of the work beforehand actually does help with your experience, because it was like just little like boop.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, now we're gonna work.
Yeah, to drain it all out.
Yeah.
Sounded more cruel though.
I know. I know.
So I feel like also the more intense the experience is, the more you get out of it. Is that like true?
You know what?
Not
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, I would say again, like Friday night, right? I was like, the message I got was to relax and to enjoy and to stop trying so hard, and that was a huge message for me. That was groundbreaking for me, but it was so simple and it wasn't that intense. And it's been like in my life, like as I've been like these past couple weeks integrating, where I'm just like, I'm not gonna try hard at anything. Like, I'm just gonna chill. Everything is working out, and it is, and it's been groundbreaking for me. So yeah, it depends. It depends on the person. The intention is important as well. So
I'll say, you know, and obviously not that everyone does it for different reasons. You know, and there's, I don't know if some of you here was like, well, I'm not coming in with so much trauma. Like, was it, you know, do I have to have this big trauma in my life in order to go through this? I look at it as like a personal development tool. I think it's like a spiritual Tony Robbins event. You know, you in a lot of ways, you know, for me, I'm an entrepreneur, so I went into this pragmatic, you know, and I told Diane, like, for me, I don't get into the whole chakras and language, like, I need practical application, you know, like, how could I apply this in my day-to-day life? And I didn't see any entities or anything like that. And I've done it twice. For me, the visions I got, because it put my life on a whiteboard. It was interesting. I was able to look at my life, and the medicine does talk to you, higher self, whatever I talked about it, and it told me exactly what to do. You got to talk to your wife about this. You got to talk to your mom about this. You got to talk to your dad about this. And I was like, and these were issues that I've been avoiding in my life, you know, and that's where the integration came in. And it was such a breakthrough for me, and exactly what I did on Monday, I was like, okay, I just set up these appointments with specific people, and when I did that, it cleared a lot of things up, and I went into flow. And by flow for me, it was like things started happening that I usually had to work hard for, and things just started happening for me almost automatically. It was like the rewards of dealing with there's rewards to the integration, right? If you do the work. You know, and so if you're somebody that's like, I just want to grow, I just want to, you know, and it drowned out all the noise, because there's a lot of fucking noise right now, right? And there's so much noise. So when you can cut out all the noise, it allowed me to focus on what's really important, right? And for me, it was my family, right? And the people around me, and it took human connection to another level. Like, I love people. I was like, holy shit, I know I can love people to this degree, right? And, right? It was like you have such a connection, like, wow, and you realize, like, I can't believe I was so disconnected from them. And I was like, wow, that is it, you know? And it's like, and it sounded, before I would hear that, I was like, oh, it's all about human connection. I'm like, go hug a fucking tree, man. Like, what do you mean? Like, what is that going to do for my day-to-day life, right? That was my ego. And then I was just like, when you experience it, you're like, whoa, wow, I didn't know that was in there, you know? And so that was probably the greatest thing I got, you know? And so it's allowed me to, it's taken all aspects of my life to a whole level, my marriage, my business, my health, right? You know, it just, so it's extremely, it was an extremely positive experience for me.
Thank you. That was so beautiful, the way you put it, Carla. Yeah, I also want to note on that, yeah, you don't need to have like an extreme trauma like to benefit from this work, because some of the things, like, although I'm like purging, you know, violence and things like that, sometimes I'm just purging like self-doubt. Like, sometimes I'm just purging like fear of my own greatness, or just, you know, sometimes I'm just purging insecurities of whatever, you know, just like basic things that will literally hold, self-sabotaging habits, things like that. Things will hold us back from being the greatest version of ourselves, or shining our light bright in this world, and being, creating impact and doing meaningful work, because we question and we doubt ourselves. And those little things, sometimes I'm purging it and I know exactly what it is. I'm like, wow, that was like ancient self-doubt that like I believed since I was 6 years old, that has kept me from like my light and has kept me hiding in the dark and or stopping me from going after my goals or whatever it is. And so that was a good point. Thank you, Carlo. Yeah. Do we have any other questions or anybody else that wants to share? If not, I'm going to close it up. I really appreciate all of your time. And
Can you talk about upcoming events that people can learn more with you or coaching or what?
Yeah. So I am actively coaching people through these experiences now. We are holding a retreat in January, which is coming up in like 2 weeks. This is more of an immersive retreat. So the way that we've structured the retreat is that it is going to help you do the preparatory work and then guide you into 2 nights of ceremony, 1 if you prefer, 2 if you prefer, and then just creating a supportive environment for that integration that's really allowing you to ground, to really put yourself in a receptive mode, to really get that one-on-one coaching aspect of having someone to talk to about this stuff. Because a lot of times we're like, okay, I'm like doing this weird thing, like I don't want to tell my friends, I don't want to tell my family, like then you kind of feel a little isolated and you're going through the experience by yourself. So we've created it in a way that you have someone that's really a place where you can be vulnerable and you can be open and really allow your naked soul to kind of like work through its shit. And we have an amazing chef that's going to be catering it. It's going to be at this beautiful mansion that you guys have seen, some of you, and we're just going to really be allowing ourselves to ground and giving ourselves a space to do this work without having to jump right back into our everyday lives, and really taking these lessons and learning practical ways to use them in your life to really get to the next level of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve personally. And I trust and believe that the way that this creation has come through me as an extension of Source, and I truly believe that when you leave from those 3 days working with us, that you are going to be a completely changed human and completely ready to take on whatever it is that is the next level of your existence here. So yeah.
Do you have any recommendations, like you brought it up, like telling people in your family and stuff, and like I'm not sure if they're gonna understand or not, because like they might be worried about me.
Yeah.
So like, because like I don't want to keep it a secret, because then that's just like, but I kind of have to keep it as a secret just so like I don't put the burden on them. Like, do you know where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. My family is not very open to this stuff at all. So it's not that I like keep it a secret. I just choose not to talk about it around them because it makes them uncomfortable. So I'm being, just considerate of where they're at. I meet them where they're at. And that's kind of what is like you kind of have to do with people, where it's like, okay, you're not there yet, and I'm not going to judge you for not understanding what I understand. However, I'm going to come and meet you where you're at, love you where you are, and through loving them where they are, you bring them into your frequency and the vibration that you're at by loving them where they're at. And just not trying to push people past their comfort zone. People don't like to be pushed, and it can create more distance. And knowing that also as you're healing yourself, you're healing them too. So you're doing the work for them by doing the work for yourself. They'll get there.
Or not.
Yeah.
Could you explain a little more about the other plant medicine that you're gonna do at your next event?
Oh, so the combo. So the combo is actually frog medicine. And so that is venom from a particular frog in the jungle that detoxes the organs and clears out noise and clears out the energetic field. So the reason we do that before the ayahuasca is, depending on what your diet's been like or whatever, things we're opening it up, we're cracking open that concrete, right? And we're allowing yourself to be in a receptive mode. And there's different peptides and stuff. I can send you information on it if you're curious. And then the cacao ceremony is ceremonial cacao from the jungle, which is a heart opener. And so doing that after ceremony is really kind of opening it up to more of a celebratory experience and really more of an external, like loving and just joyful kind of experience. So we do prayers in that ceremony, like openly. Yeah. Yes.
So you were saying that you have the frog medicine.
Yes.
That one's from the jungle.
Yes.
Do you have access to the frog in the Sonoran Desert?
I don't personally.
Do you know of how we could?
You can get that. I mean, I have a practitioner here that gets their medicine from Peru that you can work with. However,
Does he have access to the Sonoran frog?
that frog is bufo, which is
Yeah.
a different frog.
Right, the buffalo.
Yeah, so we can definitely talk about that. I can
That'd be
try and
awesome.
source some stuff for you if
That'd
that's
be
what you're
awesome.
looking for.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. I think it's different experience. So just so you're clear on
Very
the
different.
jungle frog than the desert
the
frog.
jungle,
Yeah.
the desert frog. Yeah, it's the only one that has the God molecule on it.
Okay. Yeah.
5-MeO-D.
Yeah. There's DMT. Yeah.
So, I'm a big fan of Mike Tyson. He's been, he's
You've
an
been
advocate.
You've been doing bufo?
He's been working with Dr. Jerry, and he took a hit on his show,
Wow.
on his podcast, and then ever since then, he's just a different. I grew up on Mike Tyson. I know Carlo has too. So
Yeah.
he is just not only completely different, but he is just like every time he talks about it, he's like, yeah, I died. Like I died. And I got
It's an ego death.
Yeah, and it's strictly. I mean, especially for men. And he's been in the spotlight for all those years, in the limelight. So, Dr. Jerry came on the show and he they did the ceremony and he's done it I think 12 times now. So I'm
Awesome.
yeah I'm more of just exploring more and
Yeah.
doing more.
You want to
research.
just do a quick hit and be done with it. You're like, I don't want to sit
Not
for
really.
a long ass ceremony.
Well, that's it's 15 minutes. You hit around the nose.
Yeah.
Compared to,
You're about efficiency.
Yeah.
I don't have this time.
Compared to like 4.5, 5 hours.
We're there
I don't
for
know
a
how
while.
long-
Yeah, we're there
how-
for a while.
How long does the ayahuasca ceremony?
We start at 10, we end at sunrise.
Okay, yeah, so that's similar to the mushroom because the mushroom usually, depending on how much you take, is about anywhere 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, you guys should take that
Boom.
New Yorker right there.
I know, that's what I'm like. It's gotta be from New York.
For life.
Alright, I'm gonna close it, guys. This
How do people get in touch with you?
Oh, you guys can, I have contact cards that I would like. If you guys are interested, please give me your email address and I will keep you posted on all the things that we have coming up. I am on Instagram at The Urban Indigo. I'm on Facebook, Diana Man Healing. You guys have my email address. But yeah, let's connect and exchange contact info. And if you guys need any resources, any support, anything at all, that's what I'm here for. Literally, that is my purpose. She told me, so it literally brings me so much joy to be sharing this sacred medicine with more and more people that are seeking it and finding value in it and how it's changing and transforming people's lives. Like, I couldn't be more fulfilled than just seeing how people just continue to blossom into more of who they are. It's beautiful.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Can I get some clout for like 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Alright, so you might have already seen some of this artwork. Ramin
You wanna
will
come
show
on
you.
camera? It's up here.
Sure. Perfect. So basically, John and I, we're taking over a non-profit right now. It's called Tribal Vision. The two people who are running it right now are building their house, so they really have been at a standstill for like 3 months. So John and I are going down to the jungle, right, in March, so we can like kind of take over, get the ball rolling, amongst other things. John has to get some bone work done or whatever. But like this is some traditional artwork that the women do. It's a really horrible
Beautiful.
situation they
How
are
much is that?
in. So I bought this for about $200, right, USD, and I'm thinking I could flip it for more, but it's all the profit obviously isn't going into my pocket. It's going right back in. We're starting water projects, medicine projects.
So you have access to all these? You selling them right now?
So that's why I was gonna try and get some clout, right? We're going back in March, right? I'll be back in March or probably April with like a lot more of these, and I'm gonna hand pick every single one. It'll be worth it. Like how many? Like if you put this on a wall, like no one has this, right? It's one of a kind, handmade.
Exclusive.
Exclusive, right? Amongst other things, shirts, skirts, all traditional. So like it's a great way to support the community, gives them an economy. There's droughting and flooding in the Amazon right now. Like what, droughting in the Amazon? What the heck,
And
right?
fires.
Fires,
yeah,
all that.
Yeah.
All that.
So it's a good way to support them.
Keep
while
me
at the
informed,
same
man.
time-
I'll be more than happy to support any way I can.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Thank
let
you.
me know when you have some more, and then
Gotcha.
I'll be more than happy to support. As Carlo knows, we always love to spread the love around. So.
And I already know you're gonna love the medicine.
I'm a medicine man, man.
Okay.
I sell legal medicine throughout the state of California.
Perfect.
So I'm in tune with the medicine.
Keep it green.
That's right.
Oh, I should have gave you the mic, sorry. Also, medicine people are always seeking medicine. So whether
That's
it be cannabis, CBD, I mean mushrooms, medicine people are always seeking medicine. Even Shaman actually told me this a couple months ago, because he used to be a drug addict. I was used to be in my old life, and so it's like first you find the medicine that makes you forget who you are. And then eventually you find the medicine that makes you remember who you are. And so,
Interesting.
yes. All right. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Sending
We love you back.